Dooba-dooba-doo-bop. Dooba-dooba-dooba-dooba-dooba-doo-bop. Dooba-dooba-dooba-dooba-dooba-doo-bop. Dooba-dooba-dooba-doo. This is my story. I have no song, just alone and broken hearted. Just because I fell in love with you, I pray, yeah, that you'll come back to me, just to hear you say you love me, and we'll never, never part from you. Dooba-dooba-doo-bop. Dooba-dooba-dooba-dooba-dooba-doo-bop. Dooba-dooba-dooba-dooba-dooba-doo-bop. Dooba-dooba-dooba-doo. You pray that I'll come back.
Well, good morning. It's about a little after 9 this morning, and I'm in Idyllwild, California. And I'm heading up the Deer Springs Trail toward a famous rock formation called Suicide Rock. I'm on the Deer Springs Trail, like I said, and I had a little bit of a problem trying to figure out if I was even able to actually take this trail today. A few months back, there was a big fire raged through this area, mostly south of here, but the San Bernardino National Forest decided it was in everybody's best interest just to close most of the area that was affected by the fire down for at least a few months. And sure enough, they did that. But I was reading that the Deer Springs Trail was actually still open. It's on the northern boundary of the fire, so supposedly this area isn't really affected. The hard part was I couldn't get confirmation. Ranger stations closed on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Today's a Thursday. So when I got here, I got my self-issued permit, but I couldn't get confirmation. There's signs at the trailhead, but they made them out of paper. And over the winter months, it's deteriorated to the point where you can't even read the paper anymore. So I had a really tough time deciding whether I should even take the trail or not. Due to the miracle of modern technology, I was actually able to Google the San Bernardino National Forest District office, which is like 60 miles from here. I actually got a secretary who looked it up on her internal emails and told me I was good to go. So it took a little longer than I thought to get permits and to get authorization to be on this section of trail, but lo and behold, here I am. So I'm heading up the Deer Springs Trail. It's about 3.5 miles from trailhead down there in Idyllwild up to Suicide Rock. So about 6.5 round trip, 6.6 round trip. Should go pretty quick. Well, as I'm working my way up along the Deer Springs Trail up to Suicide Rock, I do have a couple of concerns. The biggest one is rattlesnakes. I know it's January and there's usually not a lot of rattlesnake activity in January, but almost every trip report I've read on this trail, they've seen rattlesnakes. So, still have a little bit of a cold. So I'm a little concerned about it. And there's obviously a mountain lion up here, as well as deer. And there's actually outflow of a creek that's up here, called Deer Springs. I don't know where the actual deer spring is, but Marion Mountain Creek, or Marion Creek, actually comes through a section up here, and at one point we'll be crossing over a small little section of it. And if I do decide to add some water to what I'm carrying, I'll be able to filter some water there. I brought my little Sawyer squeeze filter and a small little bag, so I can add a little bit if I need to. Temperature's about right. It's probably in the low 50s, upper 40s, but as I'm moving on this trail, it feels nice. And it is steep.
My head is stuck in the clouds. She begs me to come down, says boy, quit fooling around. told her I love the view from up here. Warm sun and wind in my ear. Will watch the world from above as it turns to the rhythm of love. We may only have to...
Well, I'm taking a moment here along the Deer Springs Trail so you can see some woodpecker practice. There's a lot of woodpeckers up here in the San Jacinto Wilderness, and this tree here at one time, when it was most likely upright, was the home of some red-headed woodpeckers. And who knows, maybe they still practice on this tree along the Deer Springs Trail. Well, if you're wondering what I'm wearing these Luna sandals. These are the monos, and I added tech straps to them. That's this little piece right here. This keeps the heel strap from slipping in the back. And you'd think, well, probably isn't the best thing to be wearing on a hike, but believe it or not, they're actually really comfortable. A little bit of sand and grit never hurt anybody. Give you a little better view here. There's not much to them, but I tell you what, your toes sure appreciate them. They appreciate the ability to breathe, and you don't get blisters. Can't beat that here along the Deer Springs Trail heading up toward Suicide Rock. Well, I'm still climbing up the Deer Springs Trail. I haven't quite hit the turnoff yet. Ought to be coming up here any second. I gotta admit, I'm getting a little tired. This is actually about the levelest it's been in a while. But you can tell we're kind of out of the chaparral a little bit and manzanita. Now we're actually entering pine forest as we're getting closer toward the top of Strawberry Valley and the Suicide Rock Deer Springs split. Saddle Junction is up there. That's the main trail, or the PCT, that goes from Mexico to Canada. And it's also one of the main trails that heads up toward Mount San Jacinto, which is over that direction. So getting there. Should be a trail split here any minute. Hopefully it'll level out a little bit, allow me to catch my breath. We're at about 6,800 feet, give or take. I like this environment better. Down below, the trail was kind of boring, uninspiring. A lot of rock, manzanita. This is what I came for right here. A little chilly in the shade.
If I was a flower growing wild and free, all I'd want is you to be my sweet honeybee. And if I was a tree growing tall and green, all I'd want is you to shade me and be my leaves. All I want is you, will you be my bride? Take me by the hand and stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea.
Now I was just talking about this trail junction right here, and this is it. Suicide Rock, 1 mile. Strawberry Junction, 1.8, Little Round Valley. So this is where I'm headed. Suicide Rock, 1 mile. In fact, off in the distance there, that's a Lily Rock right there, Tockwitz Rock. And then on the other side of it over there is Tockwitz Peak, which is the actual summit with a fire tower. So I'll get a better shot of that as I get a little farther down the trail here. Well, I finally come to the crossover of Marion Creek, which goes down along the trail here. Normally this would be flowing a lot bigger and bolder than it is now, But since we've had basically no snow this year, this is all we've got. Maybe on the way back I'll filter some water here. We'll try it. I've got my Sawyer little mini filter, so squeeze filter. So maybe I'll give it a shot. Well, I'm actually on Suicide Rock right now. I'm just on the non-view side. Looks like I'm going to work my way around the other side of it to get the actual viewpoint. Behind me is the top of Saddle Junction in Strawberry Valley. And Tockwitz and Lily Rock, or Tockwitz Rock, are over on that way. It's a little cooler up here. I can feel the temperature change. And of course the wind doesn't help either. I think I'm going to have to get out the sweater here in a minute. Well, this looks like the end of the trail here along the Suicide Rock Trail. So this rock outcrop is the upper portions of Suicide Rock, and just to the southwest from here is the drop-off. Across the valley is Tockwitz Rock and Tockwitz Peak, and now we'll go get a closer look at that. Well, this is Suicide Rock in Idyllwild, above the town of Idyllwild. We're about 7,500 feet or so, and just over this point right here is the actual leap-off spot. So you can imagine the view I'm going to see when we get to the edge here. I'm not going to get too close. The wind is blowing this direction off the top of the peak, so but I will give you a little better shot to give you an idea of the dramatic view and, of course, the drop down below off Suicide Rock. It's a great view off to the west from this direction and down into Idyllwild, but if you're afraid of heights, this is probably not the place to be. I don't mind it, as long as I don't get too close.
I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. You could cut ties with all the lies that you've been living in. And if you do not want to see me again, I would understand.
I wanted you to get another shot of drop off here off Suicide Rock. It's pretty intense. It's a good drop from here, and sound really carries up here. I can hear dogs barking down in the valley. I thought I heard either hikers or climbers over toward Tockwitz Rock. So there is some activity up here. Just none of it up here on my trail. Well, anyway, that about do it for this edition of Anthony's Audio Journal. This is the hike to Suicide Rock in Idyllwild, California. And I hope to catch you next time on another adventure of Anthony's Audio Journal. Bye-bye. Time for lunch.